What's everybody? It happened. Enhancement finally got its light touch. And it's pretty much exactly what we needed and a little more, putting us in a much better spot than before. So the big change is that Molten Assault, improved Maelstrom Weapon, and Witch Doctor's Ancestry have been reduced to 1 pointers instead of 2, enabling us to properly make builds that are better than they ever were in Dragonflight. And we'll return to that in a bit. Because on top of this, we also had Primordial Waves cooldown reduced to 30 seconds and Doom Winds down to a minute flat. Now, reduced cooldown on Doom Winds is nice and feels a lot better to play with, but reduced cooldown on Primordial Wave is just nuts. Most of us who enjoyed Elementalist and Dragonflight really enjoyed Season 3 tier bonus because it reduced Primordial Wave's cooldown. We now almost have that permanently, but this also synergizes extremely well with Stormbringer hero talents, because more lightning bolts means more Tempest, and each lightning bolt applies lightning rod, which is currently doing an unethical amount of damage. Please don't nerf. Doom Winds, however, is less impactful, mainly due to Doom Winds not being that great to begin with, but it being on a 1 minute makes it a lot easier to play around and overall fits Enhancement better. But wait, there's more. Molten Assault's spread range for Flame Shock is increased from 8 to 12 yards, making spreading a lot smoother and should in a lot of cases allow us to actually spread from bosses, since sometimes that just wasn't possible. Third Bossin and Darkheart Thicket comes to mind, and Crash Lightning got the same treatment, 12 yards up from 8, making it a lot better for big AOE pulls or spread targets to activate it, or when you need to run away or run out, you can smack this. Going back to the talents, having these extra points opens up the potential for a lot of new builds or improves existing ones. Elementalist, for example, can have its cake and eat it too, rather than needing to choose between things like, oh, Elemental Blast, Sundering, Flurry, Swirling Maelstrom, etc. You can now have it all, which is simply incredible. It just feels complete, and it allows you to make totemic builds that synergizes with all the talents. Totemic is sadly still in a tough spot until they add Lava Lash to Totemic Rebound at the very least, but you can still make proper and good builds. For Storm, it's even more insane. They're legit take everything and some more. You can make a standard Stormcleave build that gets to take all the fun single target talents, making it exceptionally better in M+ than it was before, but it also allows you to make a Doom Nova build that doesn't suck at single target. So with Stormbringer hero talents and Storm, if you go the Doom Nova route, you can add in a naked Primordial Wave as well, so without the rest of the capstones, because you already got Flame Shock spread for Fire Nova, so every 30 seconds you can just press Primordial Wave for Giga Juice Lightning Bolt, which applies lightning rods to all targets and more often than not procs a Tempest that you can slam down, dealing extra damage to all the rods. And same thing for Storm single target. For raid bosses, you'd most likely take Primordial Wave, since you got the points to do so, because Primordial Wave itself does a decent amount of damage, applies Flame Shock, which also does damage, and of course makes your Lightning Bolt slap. So for one global, it's most likely worth it. Point being, there's so much potential in the tree, and it solves as well as improves a lot of our existing builds by simply not forcing us to choose. Sure, I mean, sometimes choices are good, but not when the choice is, do you want $100 and get stabbed in the ass? Or do you want a different set of $100 and get stabbed in the ass? Which is no longer the case. My ass remains unstabbed. So I am beyond hyped for these changes. Things are finally looking up. Now, are there still issues for Enhancement? I mean, of course there are. There's still poop in the corners here and there, and Totemic still needs a lot of love in my opinion, and our survival for sure could go up even more. There is still an insane amount of button bloat, and deeply rooted elements still pisses me off at least 5 to 19 times in a dungeon by proccing right before a pack dies. But it also makes me rock hard at least 1 to 5 times per dungeon when it procs exactly where you want it to. But none of that is in need of immediate attention, even though I'd for sure love those things as well. Sure, some could argue survival is needed, and while I do agree, we've also been able to play around that to a certain degree in the past, but we cannot play around having too few talent points. Hope that makes sense. Might just be my brain at 4 AM in the morning. Now I will be trying out a lot of builds and drop videos about them, but first I just wanted to talk about all the updates. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, slap that notification bell. If you'd like to help support me and my content, check out my Patreon or YouTube membership as well as Twitch. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time.